Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Boardroom brought to you by Geekflare.com. Joining us today is Collins Enosh. This person is one of the top voices in LinkedIn for writing. Am I right, Collins?
Thank you for the intro. Why not?
I just want you to introduce yourself to our audience. What exactly do you do? And a little bit about your background and your life.
Hi everyone, my name is Collins. So I'm a pianist, guitarist, popular poet, writer, and a teacher. So I would recognize myself as an artist. And artist trajectory, career trajectory, I believe it is has to be a little bit chaotic, has to be a little bit of spontaneity. So I'm a very spontaneous person.
Without wasting any time, let's just dive into the topic. And there is one very interesting thing about you that you dropped out of MBBS. You spent 4 years in a medical school, and then you decided to drop out. Can you tell about this story? Why did it happen?
Yes, this question has been asked to me by like literally thousands of people, but mostly Indians. And unfortunately, the answer is long. There is a very clear answer, but the answer is long. So it's very easy answer. Like there is no like it's very nice. Sounds very nice if I say I quit medical college to become a writer. That I sometimes use that in interview, professional interviews to get clients or to get a job. But that is not the absolute truth. The truth is even more dark, and it is very useful for the audience when it comes from a career choice perspective. So let's say I am a medical student who's struggling because I don't like to look at blood. I don't like to look at diseases. I don't want to touch dead body. I don't want to touch human body. So how can I become a doctor without touching human body? And even if I do become a doctor, what do I actually do? So it's very serious. In India, there is this big problem. All young people above 18 to 25, for every problem, career related problem, they blame parents. I think I totally blame the young generation or the youngsters because let's say I also did that and I kept on blaming parents. They forced me into medical college, they forced this career choice, and let's say I do become a doctor, and let's say I become a bad one because I was not serious about it, I was not interested. Anyone who is not interested and not serious will not be very good. They can accidentally become somewhat good. Why would they be very good? They won't be. So let's say I'm a bad doctor and someone dies and the relatives come to me, can I then tell it's not my fault parents forced me? So medical field is so serious that if I'm a bad doctor, patients will literally die. So if someone like me quits medical field, then maybe I'm helping the society by at least not becoming killer. So the career choice is that easy. And someone might say engineers is not that serious, but same thing can happen with an engineer. Let's say the civil engineer builds a bridge and they were forced by their parents and the bridge collapses. So I think the easiest one line answer would be take responsibility. So I think all of us in our career trajectory is not just about career, it's also about becoming better humans. We have to take responsibility for our lives and our decisions. So the sooner the better. A person can do that final decision at 35, 40. I'm not going to force everyone to make that decision at 18. So that's what happened. At the end of the day, this is my life, my career. I will decide and do what is best for me and try to be good at it.
Collins, I just want to know one personal question. So, when you decided to drop out of your medical school, so what was the reaction of your family and friends? Like you have spent literally 4 years and you're on to your graduation now, and after all the money that they have spent and all the hard work that has been put. So, what was the initial reaction of your family and friends there?
Yes, again, very good question because it's not Colin's story. This is a very common story in every street in India, in every middle class family. This is same topic, same issue is prevalent. So even before entering medical college, my the funny part and the interesting part, and also which is a sad reality of society, my parents are super educated. Both my parents are veterinary doctors, and that too from a big city called Madras. Both of them studied from Madras. So we expect them to be more modern, more mature, more sensitive. So when I after 12th, I told my father I want to do psychology. Then he replied that if you do psychology, you'll become mad. I was literally shocked. That was not the expectation I had from educated person. So basically, I was very sure about psychology, first choice, second choice, English literature. So I was forced into medical college. I was very clear that I did not want to become a doctor. I have nothing against science. I still love science. Maybe I'm somewhat good at science. Like if I'm part of a YouTube channel or a firm or a content firm, where I combine science and interesting or presentation skills, then I'm the perfect person. Why not? But pure science takes more seriousness, which I don't have naturally. I have to force myself to change. So I was very clear about that. So I was forced. So when I quit, obviously it felt like career suicide for everyone. Parents were very disappointed, and I quit in 2014, even after becoming a popular creator, popular writer, being successful in a new field after quitting medical college. Even now, my parents kind of hate me. And this is 2024, that's almost 10 years later. So that is the reality. That's why I started this podcast with the very important line for youngsters: take responsibility for your life. It's better to have disappointed parents than disappointed relatives or patients or patient who died. This is way easier. So no regrets.
So this is a very big message that you have just given. It is literally giving me goosebumps right now. Like that would be a very harsh decision, I would say, very bold decision, a very tough decision it was, and you are still struggling it till today, and you are accepting it live here. So it's a very huge thing. Really, kudos to you, Collins, for that. So let's move to this literature part. How did you fall in love with this English literature, this poetry, and this writing part? When did it started?
Yes, that's again a very important question because people often confuse passion with career choice. Let's say I'm passionate about football and I become a full-time footballer, and let's say I'm horrible at football, then it's a problem. By the way, I am passionate about football and I'm kind of okay at football, but no way I'm going to become Cristiano Ronaldo. That's not a reality. So again, this topic, one important point I would like to underline in this question is: are you good at your passion? If not, can you take it as a career choice? You can, but you should know. So career choice is a lot about are you good at it. So in my case, it was a very difficult uh, feeling or a difficult moment to be pushed into science or medical college, because not only I was passionate about literature and art, I was already good at it. Like even at the age of 17, 18, I was an amazing pianist. I was a very good guitarist. I still am a pianist. I'm a guitarist. And I was writing songs back then. Like I was writing lyrics at the age of 15 or 16. I had performed in front of 30,000 live performances. I was a public speaker, debater, poet, even at that age. So it was not like maybe I'll be good at it. I was already good at it. So that in the future, when I finally quit medical college, it was easier. It was not like people said, why don't you become a good doctor and also do that? Of course, that's a very good advice. And maybe some of the listeners, when they have to take the similar choice in their career, they can go for that. But for me, it was very clear. It was a decision between option A and option B. Option A, I spent 2, 3 hours on art. Option B, I spent 15 hours a day on art. So, am I good enough to want to spend 15 hours a day on writing in art? So that was my decision, and there is no right decision, wrong decision. So I wanted to spend all my time on art. So yes, so again, I started reading a lot since sixth standard. The first book that started off was like Secret Seven by Enid Blyton. I'm naming these books because it's available in every good school's library. Enid Blyton books, Famous Five. Nowadays, in the internet era, we have access to more books, but people actually end up reading much less books at that age. Back then, we had less books, but everybody had read some amount of novels in school. So it started from there, and I was an avid reader by the age of 13, 14. I used to borrow from school library. And during my BA and MA English, after quitting MBBS, just to give a perspective, I read 500 novels in 5 years.
Wow.
So yes, that's a good question. How it started? I developed interest right at the age of 11, 12 when I started reading a lot.
So today you are one of the most popular writers on LinkedIn, I would say, and you're one of the top voices when it comes to writing and everything. So when did it happen? Like when did you find out like okay, people are loving my content? What are the magical things that you have done to your content? Like people are loving it. You have got over 10 million views on your content and everything is there. So when did you find out like people are loving my content and I should continue it more and more?
So yeah, first of all, it's just the beginning of the journey. And secondly, this is an encouragement for all potential writers, especially on social media. If you're a writer or a podcast host or an anchor or an RJ, one amazing thing about social media is exponential growth.
Yeah,
The growth is not a 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, then 2 to 3. No, the growth is from 0 to 10, takes a lot of time.
yeah,
Most people give up there. So then it looks very tough. But 10 to 100 is very fast. 100 to 1000 is faster. 1000 to, so the scale is exponential, unlike real world. If I start a center like a tuition center in a city, or a school in a city, or a college in a city, or any business, physical building business, that scaling will not be so natural, and there is a saturation point. You can only target the people in your city. But online is literally huge. So once you grow even slowly, the number is going to rise exponentially. So that is what happened to me. So I don't see myself as even successful. I would want to be successful to some extent. Even I would agree it looks like I'm on the right path. But yes, why it all went well is because social media. And I didn't give up. So I think there's only one key answer: don't give up. And quantity is the answer. Like if you ask Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruce Lee, what's their secret? They will say they practice the same kick in football or martial arts 10,000 times or 1 lakh times. So for me, it's the same thing. Like I have 50 million views on the internet, all platform combined, but I have also 8,000 posts online. So anybody who writes 8,000 posts, whether they're talented or not, when they keep on writing, they are bound to get good if they try to get good. So here is a technical answer that will help them. So I am a very logical person from my childhood. So that I think really helps in any career. So despite art being very spontaneous and very creative, I had a very logical, scientific, mathematical approach. So I took numbers very seriously. So, my advice to future creators or writers or hosts or any creative professional on the internet is, don't judge your content or ideas. At the end of the day, if you narrate all this profession down, even acting or even dance or painting, it's all about idea. So don't judge your ideas. Put out all your ideas. So I started the internet as a personal diary or as an idea dump. So out of 8,000, maybe a lot of my posts are very low quality. But this is the most important feedback for the audience. What we consider quality actually never get good feedback.
Yeah,
And what we consider ordinary sometimes may even go viral. So this is a very important advice. Again, and repeat, never judge your own ideas. This is what worked for me. So I put all my ideas out there. And I decided let the audience decide what they like. So my football content, my poetry, and lifestyle related content, sports science, health science. So these are some genres where I got good reception. So I kept on writing more there. I started writing what all I know. I kept on just put it out there, and based on the feedback. So this is what maybe some beginners or writers are not doing. Feedback is your teacher. The audience is your teacher.
very true.
If you take feedback very seriously, you can grow exponentially. But if you just keep trying what you know, if you focus on yourself, me, my idea, this is good, this is what I want to put into the world, then there won't be that exponential growth. Exponential growth is we have to like evolve with the internet, evolve with the audience keeps changing, internet keeps changing. Today chat gpt is there, today youtube is there, tomorrow there's going to be something else. I was not on LinkedIn till COVID. COVID, I just started because everyone was on LinkedIn during COVID. So I got from 0 to 20K followers within a year. Why? Because right platform, right time. So another keyword is evolve with the internet, evolve with the audience. Audience is your teacher. Take feedback seriously.
And for the audience, those who don't know, Collins has over 25,000 followers on LinkedIn right now. And he is very active when it comes to responding to their followers. And if you DM him, he will respond you very quickly. And personally, I'll share my experiences about 6, 7 months ago, probably 8 months ago. I had some doubts with my writing capabilities and everything there. So I DM'd him, and I don't know if you remember, we had a very long chat where you guided me, where you gave me pain points or what are the things that you have to consider. Don't lose motivation. There are a long way track. So was it just me, or you do it with everybody who's seeking for any sort of a help or insights or guidance?
Good question. So, be it LinkedIn or some YouTube channels, audience perspective, one of the audience perspective is how can I do well in career and how can I earn? So this question is related to that also. If there's a very important problem in the society, one, obviously you should try and solve it, but there's another way of looking at it. If you're the first one to solve a big problem, you will also end up earning a lot of money through that. So this career choice problem, I think it's not a Collins problem. It's a huge problem in India. So I know that this message and all this content, like when I 4 or 5 years ago, long time ago, when I put up this MBBS story, it kind of became viral, 1 lakh views instantly. For back then, it was a lot of huge number for me. So one, it got me views, and number two, it's very obvious that it's a huge and very serious problem. This career decision, or in India, like everybody has only five options for career. In reality, hundreds of choices for career, and all of them can become really good choices. But everybody's only trying for that five spots, and that is becoming a huge problem. So if I'm talking about that problem, then can really create an impact. So yes, hundreds and thousands of people text me, DM me, and I try to reply if I have time, as much as help as many people as I can. And this is also a kind of a warning to LinkedIn beginners who immediately start charging for paid calls and all that. Basically, it's backfiring because you don't have a reach, nobody wants to pay you, because you don't have any proof of work. Nothing wrong in getting paid. First you work, then you show proof of work, then you get paid. Initially, if you're willing to deliver a lot of quality in the form of service or a product and any help or information, then you're going to become famous first. Once you become famous, you can use that fame to earn money. So what these paid collaborators or paid calls are making mistake, they're basically killing their chances of becoming famous. Instead of getting on to 100 DMs a day or 1,000 DMs a month, they'll be then limited to 2 DMs, 3 DMs per month, and they'll get paid for it, and they'll celebrate also. I got $3,000 this month by paid this thing. So yes, I try to answer as many DMs or as many people, get on calls as many as possible, because I believe this is a serious issue and I would try to solve it. That is the approach.
So that's really great. And I guess this is one of the reasons that you haven't put any paid calls or paid meetings right there, because you just want to interact with the audience, guide them to the right path. And when once the right time comes, then you might consider doing that as well. So that's really amazing. Like moving forward, one thing that I've noticed, like whatever you post on LinkedIn or Quora, you have a very catchy intro line, or the first lines are very catchy. And this is where most of the writers lack, putting a catchy headline or putting a catchy beginning to their content. So how to do that? Even this is a personal question that I want to ask, and I'm pretty sure most of the audience will also have the same question. Like how to find a catchy headline for your article or a small blog that you're writing.
The obvious answer is practice, practice, practice. Again, going back to Bruce Lee or Cristiano Ronaldo, anybody who writes 8,000 posts and takes feedback for the 8,000 posts seriously and learns from that 8,000 posts, they will get there eventually. But that is a very obvious answer. More technical answer is, so I talk about this evolution of content and evolution of internet and evolution of the audience. So if you do a research on that, what I personally learned is we're living in an era where high quality concept and idea is available in less amount of time. So it's as simple as that. You have to start with good ideas, good quality ideas and concept. People think it's quality versus quantity. It's not true. It is, can you deliver quality in less time? If you do that, you get the quantity numbers. So that obviously I learned over time. So again, I will repeat. You start with high quality ideas or concepts, and then you try to deliver in as few words as possible, or if it's in video content, as few seconds as possible. That's why you see Joe Rogan or even huge creators, they have a separate shorts channel where they promote the full podcast. So someone likes the short and they say, oh my God, this line is amazing. I got to watch the whole podcast. Then they go and watch 3 hour podcast. But those 3 hour podcasts wouldn't become popular enough if they did not have the shorts. So people criticize this, but my, even when I started 2, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I think I had this positive perception. I took it in this way. If a world class creator is able to explain a tough concept in 3 minutes, why not? Then why should I open a book and read 3 hours? I mean, content is evolving. So why are, if you look at, go back to your school teachers and professors, they will say, don't go to YouTube, don't go to online, go to the library. But I think kinds of nonsense. I am the guy who has gone more to the library than these professors. I've read literally 500 novels just during my BA English and M English. I have gone to the library. I've read a lot of novels. I read more books than most people, if not more than anyone else, but above average. I read a lot of novels, so I've done that too. But if I can get so much quality information, 3 minute clip or a half an hour podcast from Nikhil Kamath or Joe Rogan, why not? Uh, so again, I'll repeat, it's about high quality concept or difficult concept explained in a short duration or using less words. And this is where it sounds easy, but it is not. This is where I call it presentation skills. And again, one of the best to do that in 2023 is Think School. They are growing very fast because they are literally taking the toughest topic, and still a common man like me or you can understand, because that is presentation skills at the highest level, which is not easy. So presentation skill, this technical word, is not used enough in our LinkedIn post or wherever you read about writing, but its idea remains the same. But are you able to somehow present in an interesting way as well as in a short time? It's as simple as that.
So there is one more interesting question that I want to ask, and so as you have mentioned, you have read over 500 novels in your college days and after that. So if you have to pick the top five and you want to recommend it to the audience that you should read these books, this will definitely help you grow as a person. That it will definitely help you in your path in your career as well. So what are those five books?
Yes. So I my plan was to read kind of contemporary books, which some might even say that it is low quality. But even before entering college, like I said, I've been reading since childhood. So I started with the Charles Dickens and so-called classics, so-called classy. People say this is the problem. We have this notion: this is classy and this is low class. But who are they to decide? Like the internet generation, the modern generation, we should be smart enough to say the people who consider internet trash, YouTube trash, and Netflix trash, they never watched a single Netflix series. So they just, without watching a single Netflix series, they say novels are better than Netflix. But I have done it all. So I started with classic. So in my BA and MA English, the plan was to read books between 1990 and 2015. That was because if I want to become a creator in 2023, 2024, let me research what was the best books in the last 20 years. So my aim was to read the best sellers in the last 20 years, 1990 plus. So that was the aim. So yeah, I read the best and most popular novels of that era, be it Lee Child or John Grisham is one of my favorite, and Sidney Sheldon. Sidney Sheldon is considered trash by many people, especially literature professors. But I find him one of the best. And the most interesting observation is, if you look at the stories, they resemble current TV series a lot. The stories are almost ditto like uh, modern day TV series. And the biggest reason what happened in Hollywood in the last 15 years or 10 years is these novelists started realizing nobody's reading them. So they left novel writing and joined Hollywood, and they became series writer. So basically, this novelists became writers for Netflix. So yes, all these popular writers, Sidney Sheldon, John Grisham, Lee Child, all the popular writers. That was my aim. Like, why are they popular? I want to become a popular writer. So maybe the better lesson for the audience is, instead of looking for the best book, first you decide why you want to read and what do you want to learn from that reading. Then you choose the right book. Like my aim was, who is the most popular writer? Why were they popular? What can I learn from that? And today it has helped me to get to 15 million views. So there was a plan. So people just, this is, I think, not a very good question. What is the best book to read? The better question is, why do I want to read? What genre do I want to read? What do I want to learn from it? Then you ask, what is the right book to read?
That's
Have
the
a
right
plan for
question, I would
everything.
say. That's the right question, I would say. So talking about me and all the younger generation right now, we all are Netflix junkies, right? And since you have also quoted that you are also into Netflix, so then again, I would ask you to recommend some series to us. What are your favorites?
And while you're at this question, I want to break this myth to all English students. I'm also an English professor, English teacher. So all these English teachers and professors say that novels are amazing and TV series are trash. That's absolute nonsense. First of all, Shakespeare's plays were never meant to be read. They were meant to be enacted on a stage and to be watched. A lot like Netflix. Actually, Netflix is closer to Shakespeare. There is this huge myth spread by English teachers and professors in India that reading novels is amazing and you're wasting time on YouTube and Netflix. So that is absolute nonsense, because if you break it down, both are stories. And Shakespeare was never meant to be read. He enacted those storylines on a stage. So modern day Netflix, Amazon Prime is closer to Shakespeare than any of the novels. And I have read both. I like both. I'm not going to say that Netflix is superior to novels. A story is a story. I think one should try both. And if there is some person who's never able to read novels, only able to watch Netflix, no problem. You have the subtitles, right? So you're still reading the same English language, using the same uh, script. So how does it change? So yeah, so how to improve English? So as an English teacher, somebody asked me, I'll give the same answer. Read a lot of novels, watch a lot of Netflix. Don't pay any tuition teacher, join any app to learn English. So this is the best way. So I've been watching a lot of series for around 10 years, around 45 hours per week into 10 years. That's how I learned English. Because for content writing also you do need to have a command over English. So my favorite, all the popular ones from Breaking Bad and here this House MD, Suits, Prison Break, all the classics. They're my favorites.
Prison Break is one of my
From
favorite also. It's
yes,
a classic.
House of Cards, The Newsroom, The Wire. They're all amazing, and yeah.
So, as you have also mentioned that you are an English teacher, English lecturer also, and you have just given us a very important tip on how to improve your English. But there is one more thing. So, is there any conflict between you and the other English teachers because your mindset is completely different than the others? You
It's a very
promote the
good
things
question.
that they restrict. So, is there any
Yes, but I never
conflict?
get caught. I never get
Yeah.
caught. That's why I don't give podcasts.
Yeah.
So if I, as long as I don't give podcasts, I'll be safe. But
Okay.
after this podcast, I don't know. But on a serious note, it's a bigger issue. The issue is there's a clash between education system
Yeah. Yeah.
and career, career trajectory or skills required for career. The reason is very simple: internet. So basically, world has always been changing, and that's not the problem. Problem is because of the internet, world is changing too fast. Like go 15, 20 years back and go to indoor, maybe they don't know too much about UK or London or Las Vegas or Los Angeles. But now a kid sitting in indoors watching Netflix, so they have more access to what is happening in the rest of the world. So because of the internet, world is changing too fast. So now the in a world which is changing too fast, your education system is getting outdated that much faster. So the clash is not between Collins, the English teacher, and the teachers around me, of course. But I am not the problem. I am the solution. I am the teacher who is able to keep up to date with the changing world, and they are not. So I am not the problem. So I don't think so. How they are going to cause any trouble for me? But this is also a very good question because I did not go to DU. I wanted to maybe, but I didn't try. But DU is ideal or any good college, top college. I was in Bishop Hebel College, Trichy, which is very good. But it is not a modern college. So it is. So I was very frustrated with extracurriculars in my college. So same thing, like you said, there's a clash between my college curriculum and the changing world. So I was very frustrated because I see that when it comes to English literature, any art, be it acting or direction or anchoring, these skills you can't be judged by marks and written exams. So extracurriculars is number one. So that's huge. TU students do have a huge advantage, or any good literature college or arts college where they have world class extracurriculars. It can help the student a lot. So I was very disappointed and frustrated. But I think this is a message to all the audience youngsters that you should be frustrated. This positive thinking, I don't believe in it because it is always smarter to know the problem and try to solve it than to be positive about the problem and not know the problem. I think it's kind of stupid to look at the problem, ignore it, and be positive. It's better to look at the problem, be frustrated, and try to solve the problem. Again, I agree. There's some people who look at the problem, talk about the problem, and never try to solve it. That is called negative thing. That is also wrong. But I'm trying to be a realist and asking the students and audience to be realist. That is, please always be honest about the problems. Look at it, even be frustrated, and try to solve it. So when I was frustrated, I suddenly it was like a mentos moment. It struck me that internet is a platform. The world is my classroom. So I started writing online in 2017, and today I have 15 million views. So if I was not frustrated and looking for a solution, I would not have started writing online. So any student who is watching this video, the student has this negative mindset. I'm in a small city. I'm in an ordinary school. I don't have resources. Mumbai kids are better. Delhi kids are better. That is absolute rubbish in internet era. You open the internet, you learn. You go to Geekflare, you go to any good YouTube channel, any useful podcast or a blog. You get all the knowledge you want, or it is also a platform for you to learn and create to compete. So yeah, so if the education system is not going to keep up with the real changing world, then again I have this dialogue I written in a lot of my posts. Go to school, learn from life.
Yeah, go to school and learn from life. So that's again a very important quote, I would say. And people will definitely understand the meaning of it after hearing your podcast, like how it is making sense to me right now. There is one more concept of yours that you have mentioned. It's fake plus friends is frank. Is it
Yes.
something like that? If I'm
Yeah, it's
not
just
wrong.
a poem. Yeah, it's a catchy title.
So, is there any incident behind it, or it's just a poem? Because this is a worldwide problem. We all face that. So, want to know your
Yes.
perspective.
The thing is, we keep saying that it's education system, education system. But the problem is not the education system. The problem is mindset. And if there is some kid who is smart enough to think out of the box, or who goes to the internet, or who tries to be different, they'll be ostracized by their classmates, their teachers, their parents, and the society. That's a huge problem. So they'll basically end up having less friends. So you have to choose: do you want fast growth, or do you want friends? You can't have both. So basically, we're living in an era. A lot of movies, a lot of content is written around friends. There's even a recent Bollywood release about friends, friendship. I don't know the title. Uh, Ananya Pandey and Siddhant Chaturvedi are, I think, part of the movie. There's so much content around friendship that it has also become a trend. Like, you're a loser if you're less friend, and if you're a lot of friends, you're super cool. That is fine. I also had a lot of friends, and I think that's one of my biggest regrets in my life. So, like, when I was in MBBS, I had like literally 100 friends or 50 friends. But I also wasted a lot of time. And when I was reading 500 novels, obviously I had less friends, because see, if you have a lot of friends, where will you get time to read 500 novels in 5 years? So that's the concept behind it. But the bigger problem is, yes, it problem is not education system, because the best thing about education system is the library. Even now, internet can be a library. You should go to the internet and update yourself. But all the teachers, professors, parents do tell us to go to the library. Students don't go to the library. Even a student who was average in 12th goes to an ordinary engineering college, does not want to do engineering, but he or she goes to the library, either learns a lot about engineering or any other subject also, then they're going to learn a lot. So when I was in medical college, I read a lot of psychology books. So today, technically, I might know more psychology than a therapist. I don't I don't take counseling or anything. I don't use it in therapy point of view, but definitely use it in writing. Writing, there's a lot of use of psychology. So yes, the question about friendship, the answer is, the society will not accept you if you have higher ambition. Like, you are trying to keep up with the world. If you have high ambition, society will not accept you at a standard, and that's a very painful process for especially younger people. So the answer is very simple: do you want to grow or not? It's going to be difficult. You might lose friends. So yeah, that was the idea behind that poem.
This was a banger. This was a banger, I would say, because it's so true. Like the society, and sometimes even your parents won't accept this when you're trying to put higher ambitions as compared to what your relatives have done or what your cousins have done. If you're trying to set a higher expectations or higher ambitions, they're just going to undervalue and everything will be there. It's so true. And this is the problem with the Indian societies right now, which everyone can feel it. Everyone can feel it. So yeah, that was a banger, I would say, Collins. I'm still trying to recover from that fact because that was a pain point. It just stuck my mind and it was like, oh shit, this thing is so true. That's amazing. So there is one more interesting story about your life that today you're married and Mark Zuckerberg is the person behind your marriage. So would you like to break the story?
Yeah, but that is the story is a normal story. Love marriage is not something very rare in 2024. I got married in September 2023. But as a good creator or experienced creator, I try to make it sound as catchy as possible. So it's nothing like Facebook is no longer even considered cool. Like, young people have ditched Facebook for Insta, but mind you, older generation is still using Facebook. A lot of parents, Facebook Marketplace. So Facebook is still very much alive for the foreseeable future, 2, 3 years, 4 years. Younger people are using Insta now. So yeah, I started using FB in 2011. I was never really active, but I used to send not friend request to strangers. So there's a lot of criticism in LinkedIn that you should not treat it as a dating platform. So I don't disturb anyone on LinkedIn. But Facebook, Insta, I directly, openly, it's a personal platform when I'm not using it in the name of my firm or anything, my personal profile. Yeah, I try to talk with strangers. I'm an extrovert, outgoing, so I have sent like 500 blind friend requests to unknown stranger girls, and I'm married to one of them. So thanks to Mark Zuckerberg and his platform.
So that's one of the interesting stories about Collins. But Collins, it was such an amazing thing. And I'll try my best that this podcast should get the good reach and everything. And if it gets a good reach and if the audience demands, we are going to get you back. Because I think there is much more to explore. This is just, we have just touched the peak of an iceberg. Even I don't know whatever is left. So I'm really excited. I have a request to the audience. Like Collins is full of knowledge and full of insights, mind-blowing insights, which you must have felt if you have seen this podcast this far. So if you want another session with Collins, do tell us in the comment section. Go to his LinkedIn, start DMing him. Like come to the part two, come to the part two. And personally, I would love to have you again. And thank you so much, Collins, for featuring on this podcast. And to be honest, it is one of the most insightful, or I would say mind blowing, or reality check that we have got today. So I'm really thankful for you for being on this podcast, and I hope you enjoyed your time dumping your knowledge. And I'm pretty sure the people will love it. So this was Collins. You can go and follow him on LinkedIn. The link is in the description. You can check it out. Go DM him, ask him your doubts. He's very active there. So this podcast was brought to you by Geekflare.com, your trusted source for all the technological and business related articles and queries. So make sure to check out the channel, and there are also multiple podcasts that we have done before. So you can also check it out. Till then, this is your host, Ritesh, signing off.